Whoa, magnitude 5.8 in Oregon. I saw that and I'm like, that is absolutely crazy. And there were other earthquakes, 4.3, 3.1, 4.9, 3.3, 3.2, 2.7, 4.4, 2.6. So this is a cluster swarm of earthquakes. And of course, if you see the location there, you're thinking, is this the Cascadia Fault? Is the Cascadia Fault starting to rupture? That is the big question. I mean, imagine this. This cluster swarm, the strongest earthquake, almost had magnitude 6. So the US Geological Survey reported the first tremor at 10:30 p.m. local time. That's 1:30 a.m. Eastern time, about 102 miles southwest of Port Orford in Oregon, in southern Oregon, southwest Oregon. And at least 5 of these additional quakes, I say a lot more have developed since then, have been recorded in the exact same area. And the strongest of the aftershocks, foreshocks, 4.9. So far, the 5.9 is identified as the potential main shock of this earthquake swarm, but we don't know yet. You've just seen it in my report about Afghanistan. They thought the 6.0 was the one, and then there came another 6.2. So the USGS is suspecting that in the notice that they just gave out, and they think that there is a 6% chance that one or more aftershocks stronger than magnitude 5 could strike in the next week. So this is not over yet, and this is powerful enough to cause damage, guys. And smaller tremors are of course more likely. They expect as many as 50 larger aftershocks of magnitude 3 or higher. That is also strong enough to be clearly felt in the region. And if we look at the earthquakes, you see the cluster swarm there on the left, but there have been a few quakes in California as well. A 3.6 just happened. But if we have a closer look at the cluster swarm, it's on the Gorda Ridge, basically. That is near the Blanco fracture zones. Because, you know, where is this coming from? Can we be sure that it is the Cascadia Fault? Usually what the scientists are saying, it's most likely the Cascadia Fault that is causing this, but there are other smaller fault lines and fracture zones that are also involved. And now we see something in California. So is there any transfer of stress? I mean, we have the San Andreas Fault that's reaching in this area. And we know Eureka, Crescent City, highly seismically active with all the fault lines that they have locally there. They basically calling for Shizzy to hit the fizzy, if we say it like that. Strangely enough, the 5.9 or 5.8 just struck hours after the governor of Oregon, Tina Kotek, has announced new seismic safety rules that would be required for all new state buildings that are larger than 10,000 square feet. Potentially. And they would need to older structures, she said, must also be updated to current Cascadia safety codes by 2060. Is that early enough? So the government has stressed that when a major earthquake hits, state emergency responders must be able to work from buildings that remain standing as they help the people in Oregon to recover from this disaster. Yeah, that makes sense. And because just in April, researchers at Virginia Tech found that an earthquake magnitude 8 or higher along the Cascadia Subduction Zone, combined with the other risk of liquefaction, the land would fall 6 feet, that this earthquake would cause the sinking of the coast within 30 minutes of a major tremor. So there's not much time. And they determined that an earthquake magnitude 8 or higher The more severe effects would hit southern Washington, northern Oregon, and northern California. Northern California gets both the Cascadia Fault and the San Andreas Subduction Zone. So, and unfortunately, these are also some of the region's most densely populated areas. So the Cascadia Subduction Zone earthquake, should there be the big one, it would result in a large expansion of the coastal floodplain. That area has a 1% chance of flooding each year already, and it would increase it from 35 square miles to 116 square miles. That would place an additional almost 15,000 residents, 22,500 structures, and 777 miles of roadway at risk. And we do know that the Cascadia Subduction Zone historically has produced earthquakes magnitude 8 or even larger roughly every 400 to 600 years, with the last one striking in 1700. So do the math, guys. So the governor of Oregon just said, quote, "Preparing for an earthquake is a long game." Okay, but how much more time do you have? She said, if we look at 50 years, we can spread that cost out, replace or retrofit 2% of our buildings each year, and in 50 years, we'll have upgraded every single one. I mean, you have to start somewhere. I think it's good. State Representative Dacia Graber, she has said in that context, a first responder, and she's an earthquake readiness advocate. She said, one of the things that keeps me up at night is that we are the only post-industrial region pretty much in the whole world that hasn't lived through our worst natural disaster. That is true, because if you look at all the world's earthquakes in the last few months around the Pacific Ring of Fire, there's one little tiny area that is quiet, and that is the west coast of Canada and North America when it comes to these big disasters. So she further says, we've seen this train barreling down on us, yet we only react when emergencies start to personally affect us. Yeah, that is really true. So getting ready and be prepared, certainly better today than tomorrow and better yesterday, but it's not happening. Same problem in Canada, in Victoria and Vancouver Island, that will be highly affected by the big one. But buildings like Portland with old masonry buildings, highly at risk, but also in Seattle and all over the place, even in California, that should be prepared because they have the San Andreas Fault. So hopefully they can do this in time, guys. If you like this video, please share it, hype it, click the hype button. It's down by the comments. You have to switch the comments to the side. If you want to fill me up with coffee, it's greatly appreciated. buymeacoffee.com/silky. Link is in the description, guys. Hello to all new members. Thank you for your supers. Check out the ones in the end screen because so much more is happening. This is a development story in Oregon, guys. I will keep you updated. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.